You're going to be offended. I actually tell my students, don't date women under the age of 24.
Oh.
I'll go on a couple of dates with a girl. It goes real well, and then I fall in love real fast. But obviously, I'm not actually in love. It's just very superficial. And then I get far too keen, and then they're like, what the fuck's going on here? This is too much. I know I shouldn't be doing that, but I just don't quite know how to do it yet. So I want to address that.
Good question. And now it's story time. Check this out. So, back in the medieval times, pre-industrial revolution times and things like that, a guy like you would be like the best type of guy, right? So if you meet a woman and within 2 or 3 meetings with her, you're like, I'm in love with you, I want to marry you, that was actually a really beneficial way to be for hundreds of years. Because it's like, hey, we're all dying of the plague. We don't have time to fuck around here. Do you want to get married or not? So pre-modern society, you would actually be a catch. Like your tendency to fall in love fast would be a major benefit to you. But in modern times, it's the opposite, because nowadays we know that if you rush into things too fast, more often than not, it ends poorly. I basically share that with you, so number one, you don't fault yourself. Part of the reason that people are even in existence today is because of men like you. All right? So don't hate yourself for falling in love fast, but do realize that it's not as appropriate in modern times. So accept yourself and then plan around this kind of stuff. So one of the things you might want to do is, maybe put longer distances in between the dates. So slow the momentum down of the date. Because if you meet somebody and you're like, wow, we get along really well, let's have a first date, you have a great first date, you're like, that was awesome, let's have a second date 3 days from now, you have a second great date, you sleep together, you're like, that was awesome, when's the next time you're free? And you just keep seeing each other as often as you can. You have a girlfriend and you're moving super fast. This is not the strategy you want to take unless you've said to yourself, I know exactly what I want from a relationship and I'm going to go out and get it. And oh, lo and behold, you're the girl I found. Great, I want to make this happen, right? But if you're 21 or 22? 21. If you're like, yeah, I want to have relationships. I want to have experiences. I want to date more than one woman. I don't want to rush into something. And you might even say, I'm really open to it, but I want to make sure that it's really, really highly compatible before I give up my freedoms and commit to this one situation. So if that's the case, then one of the things that you can be saying on dates is, so look, I don't really consider myself a needy or clingy guy, but I do catch feelings quickly. And because of that, even if you and I have a really, really great time tonight, I'm probably going to say, hey, let's wait a couple weeks before we see each other again. And I want to tell you that right now before the date even gets off the ground, so that you don't think later on that just because I don't want to see you right away that it's some criticism of you. So you basically give the girl a heads up. You say, look, the better this date goes, the sooner I'm going to want to see you. And that means I can't, because I will catch feelings very quickly. And I don't want to do that because I don't think it's very appropriate in new relationships. And this is something that I'm working on in myself. Now, if you're speaking to another 21-year-old woman, she might be like, why is that inappropriate? If you like me, why shouldn't you hang out with me? If we like each other, we should hang out as much.
You're going to be offended. I actually tell my students, don't date women under the age of 24.
Oh, yeah, because my brain is not developed, baby. I literally feel bad for some of the men that I dated because they were bad, but I was bad too. Yeah. Let me say, because I'm not fully developed up there and I know that. So I can't process some things, and that's probably why certain situations happened, because I'm young.
Yeah. This is inexperience talking, right? Any woman who says, no, you should definitely rush in, is an inexperienced woman, or a woman who is trying to get herself married as quickly as possible. So she's either really traditional, or she doesn't have experience with getting burned by rushing into relationships too fast. As soon as that happens to a woman once or twice, when you start saying, hey, let's take it slow, they go, yes, thank you, let's take it slow, right? So the women who don't want to take it slow haven't been burned yet. Lucky them. You don't want to be the first guy to do it, though.
Yeah, have you been in some situations where, maybe 9 months afterward, you're like, oh, that's what was going on?
Yes, for sure. That has happened, a lot. And then I wish I could, rewrite the situation and have handled it better. But you can't change the past, and you just have to move past that,
So for the girl who doesn't like the fact that you want to go slow, she's not your girl at this time. You know, she's not going to help you work on yourself. She's not going to help you make personal development towards being a less, future tripping person. Future tripping is my new favorite word lately. When you meet a girl and you're like, we've had one date, I want to be your boyfriend. You're future tripping. You're overly investing in an uncertain future, and you're just going to get your ass bit for that, right? So that's one thing you can do, is you can say, hey, heads up. The better of a time we have, the more distance I'm gonna want to put in between, because I don't want to become a clingy, possessive guy, and so I just want to have the time to integrate the experience of this date and really get true about my feelings, and then we can have the other date. So just giving you a heads up right now. And you do want to tell them that, because remember, momentum is a thing. If you meet a woman and you're like, I had a really, really great time with you, and then you don't try to set up a date with her for a couple weeks, she's going to be confused. You've just sent her a mixed message. Why are you telling me that you loved the date, but you're not making another plan with me, right? But just staying really present with it and making sure you don't take any of the negative actions around it, going through this cycle enough times will eventually align your actions and your feelings. So if you're feeling this infatuation, but you're saying, okay, don't act like a needy, possessive, infatuated guy. Don't allow yourself to behave in a clingy way that's going to create a self-fulfilling prophecy and push this woman away. Don't say I love you in less than 3 months' time, because you don't. You could switch it with saying, I'm infatuated with you. I'm lusting for you. I can't stop thinking about you. I know that it's not real love, but this is what my body is telling me. I mean, you could be honest with people about that kind of stuff if they're detecting any sort of dissonance. Right? And then you can say, I'm really trying to control myself here because I know that, nothing is really real in the first 3 months of meeting a person. They'll either respect you for that and maintain the relationship, or they'll consider it a major red flag and bounce, but you'll be learning your lessons regardless the whole time.
Thank you.
I should just update you where I've been. My main focus when I first went into this was because of, PTSD. I didn't feel like I belonged in society anyway. And after I went through boot camp, I felt like I belonged everywhere. And that to me was the absolute biggest thing for me. I was flying high. Like, I even stayed at a hospital in Colombia when I was there, made friends with everybody. Now I'm like, well, shit, where else can I go with this now? What do I do now? Because it's like the world is open. And this is kind of perfect timing. This pandemic's happening because I can sit there and we can contemplate that